and welcome to the Pursuit of Healthiness Podcast. I'm your host, Winanda van Delft. I'm a health and mindset coach, graphic designer, and a cat mom. I love conversations that are on a more raw and deeper level. And today's guest is Shantinique. Shantinique is a mindset coach who specializes in emotional intelligence. She's an author, mother, and spirit on a mission. She studied the field of psychology and spirituality, which has helped her own journey. She is the founder and creator of BecomingInnerSelf, and her goal is to inspire women and youth to become empowered and find their inner selves. Today we are going to talk about how to partner up with your emotions. Welcome, Shantinique, to the Pursuit of Healthiness Podcast. I am excited. As I say it every time, I'm excited for every episode, but I don't know, your energy, we've talked already a little bit before, your energy, your smile, your like, this makes me happy. I'm really, really happy to do this podcast interview with you. But can you tell a little bit about yourself? Because I already talked a little bit with you, so I already know a little bit, but can you tell the listeners what you do and why you are here today?
Yes, of course. Well, thank you so much. I love your energy too. Let me say that. So first of all, I am considered, in my business, I'm a mindset coach. I specifically chose to specialize in emotional intelligence. I am 29 years old. I am a mother to two little girls, a 7 and a 2-year-old. Drive me crazy. Oh. I have psychology degree. I'm in school right now for my master's in psychology. So I also study that as well.
Amazing.
And yeah, the reason I'm here today is because I feel like, the topics that you post and the things that you talk about and your mission really coincides and aligns with my life and my purpose. So I just love connecting with people that are on that same wavelength, and
yes.
It's easy to just like communicate. And I feel like it's so important for us to get the message out of self-love, of happiness, of peace, of, developing emotional intelligence, understanding ourselves. And that is my dominant intention for being here today. So I'm excited.
Yes. So you were saying that you were talking about your passion. So what is really your passion? What is really that thing that lights you up?
The thing that lights me up, I believe, is seeing people become their greatest version, or I guess let's say going through something and coming out stronger, coming out better. And I think that my passion is that because I've been through that personally. So my life is dedicated to this on many different levels. I am like a spiritual being. I have, faith in a higher power. Then I'm not doing this alone. I'm not like religious or anything, but my experiences in life has really helped me to come to this place where I used to be in a really dark place where I was emotional all the time. I didn't love myself. I always gave to others all the time. And I put myself last on the list. And I would think when someone else did something to me, I would think, why did they do that to me? Why? I'm a good person. I would really beat myself up. And that was because I was not emotionally intelligent. So I allowed my emotions to go here and go there and have the final say. So when I got my psychology degree and I learned, it was this one class, I literally probably don't remember any of the classes. This is my bachelor's degree. It was this one class, cognitive psychology. And I remember them talking about the neurons in the brain and how we have the ability to rewire them, that they can grow, so we can change.
Yeah.
I'm like, so I started to get intrigued. I'm like, oh, okay. Because I always had this in me that I would become better one day. I would never stay where I was. So when I learned about that, the journey led from one thing to the next thing. And it was this book called The Power of the Subconscious Mind by Joseph Murphy. I believe that was him. I read so many books. Yeah, that should be him. But I read that book with my spouse at the time. And oh my gosh, it changed my life. I'm so serious. Like when I learned about the subconscious programs and how I started to dive deep into my brain and the understanding of how you can be programmed from your experiences. You can be programmed from the ways you think and the way that you feel. So I started just testing it out. I was negative at the time. I'm like, I really want to be positive. So I started to think positive thoughts dominantly. So whenever the negative thoughts would come, I would think the positive thoughts, and I just never stopped. And it was like an all day, everyday thing for me. So I allowed that to become my life. And over the years, and I would say that started in about 2017. Over the years, it just became me. Now, I was still hurting and still going through things, but more recently, I was introduced to Dr. Joe Dispenza, for those who are familiar with him. And so I learned how to reprogram my thoughts in the way that I think, but he introduced reprogramming the way that I feel in my body. And I was like, wait a minute, my body. I'm like, that's the missing piece right there. I'm like, oh. So when I learned that, I noticed that the body has a mind of its own. I started to dive deep into this mind term, right? You know how they say brain and then they say mind. I'm like, okay, well, what is the mind? Yeah. And the mind, according to what from my perspective, is the thinking, the feeling, all of it together. So I didn't know that my body had a mind of its own. I thought it just responded to, my thoughts. Yeah. So when I started to dive a little bit deeper into that, I would notice that whenever I'm in some negative situation or something like that, I would feel the feelings in my body first, and then they would kind of trigger my thoughts. And I'm like, I caught you. I caught you in my body. I'm like, I caught you. So then what I would do is I would breathe in and breathe out, breathe in and breathe out, and kind of control the feelings in my body, which would slow down the stimulation in my brain. So I learned this stuff, and I just started implementing in my life and seeing actual changes. And that's why I'm passionate about talking about it, because I'm like, come on, everybody, this is real. We can do this. We can really change. We can become whatever it is that we want. So I just love it because I've done it.
Yeah, that's I love that. I'm the same. Like and I think that's the perfect starting point for when you and I as coaches. Well, I think it's a great starting point when you use your knowledge and your experience to help other people move forward. Because I also know like therapists who don't have the experience or where they specialize in, and you get different advice, different outcomes than when you talk to someone who has gone through it, because that person understands you a lot better. And for a simple example, a couple of episodes ago, I had a pediatrician, but she was a pediatrician before she had children herself. And she was like, the advice that I gave back then, she was like, now that I am a mom myself, she was like, oh, luckily no damage happened, but it's different. Like
it is. Yes, and my mom used to say stuff. I remember growing up, she would say, you'll understand when you get a parent, become a parent. And, I didn't take it as, serious then because I was younger, but some of the stuff she did, I'm like, but now being a parent, I'm like, oh, I get it. Having experience definitely allows you to be more passionate. It allows you to dive a little bit deeper into it. And I know that is why I can cry on point. Like if I'm talking to someone and they say something that triggers me, I'm like, I'm right there with them, because, and I understand when someone else is talking from experience that I haven't had, I don't judge. I don't try to like overspeak or anything like that, because I understand like this is their experience. You never know, what someone else has experienced if you've never done it. So I'm with you on that.
Yeah. But you said that you had kind of a bad situation happening. Can you tell a little bit about that? Because I think that's what led you to what you do now. And I think that's a very important part of everything.
Yeah, of course. So, well, I would say, when I was younger, I was very emotional growing up. I remember, my childhood being an emotional. I think that I was just always caring, as the person that I am. I was just always a caring person, even as a little girl. So I think when I saw my mom kind of going through some things, because we do have to take it back. We have to go all the way back to childhood to really, identify some of the hurts and pains that we experience. So when I was younger, I was very emotional, but I didn't pay attention to that, as I became a teenager, then getting into my first relationships and things like that. I was very just kind of like innocent, happy, wanted to support everyone, to the point where I guess I kind of relied on their happiness and their decisions for mine. I never looked at myself. I don't know why. I really don't. That's something I think it was just a part of my path, because I wouldn't be here who I am today if I had have been. So growing up, that's just what it was. But it got a little bit worse as I started to get into relationships. I think the main point is I really allowed others to have more of an impact in my life than I did in my own life. And what it did was it broke me down emotionally, because if they were going through something, it didn't matter if I was going through something. Of course, I probably was deep within. If they were going through something, I just wanted to be there. I just wanted to make it better. But we don't have the ability to control anyone else. We don't have the ability to take their lives and make decisions for them. All we can do is become the best versions of ourselves and hope that our energy, that our light can impact them in such a way. So I didn't know that then, So what I would do is try and control it. Okay, well, what can I do to make it better? I didn't dive deep enough to know that it was only making it worse. And I guess there's not really like anything specific that I can say as to why I was as emotional that I was, other than
you just being you.
That's what I was. And my emotions broke me down to where I remember times of not wanting to be here, just like it was really to that point, multiple times, if not, it was overwhelming. And I know that there are lots of people that experience overwhelming emotions to where they come, and if you don't understand the thoughts that you're thinking, the feelings that you're feeling in your body, it can take over you. Yeah. And I remember times at that time, I used to, not to say I was religious, but I would pray to God, like, please help me. I want it to be better. Please help me with my emotions. Help me not to feel this way. And I would wonder why things like wasn't working out. I would, Yeah. And later on, I learned that, the power was also in me. And it wasn't all about that. It was really about diving deep into myself. So I started to come alone by myself. Like, I would close my doors, as I have little ones too, of course, that came along the journey. Yeah. But I would come in my room and I would write down the thoughts I was thinking, and I would just like write down, okay, why do I feel this way? Why am I negative? Why am I judging this person? Why am I allowing what they do to affect me? And I would just like question all my behaviors, all my decisions, all of the feelings and all of the thoughts, because I knew deep down who I was. And still today, I'm not saying, oh, I'm like some perfect person, but I just know the process to take now. I know emotions cannot have the final say. They don't have the final say, in that they are a part of me. And I think that was something I wanted to talk about today. But before I dive into that, I know it doesn't specifically, address how I kind of became emotional, but does that answer?
Yes.
Okay. But something I wanted to talk about was, I guess, my understanding of working with emotions.
Yeah, so, because that's complicated. And we have so many different emotions. Even I don't think people have all the words for all the emotions that we're feeling. It's really difficult to put a word into what you feel. And what being angry to me feels like can feel different for you, or being happy.
No, I'm with you on that. And we individually need to understand what they mean to us, as individuals. And I think that actually helped my journey too, because I had to accept that fear was not going anywhere, right? Yeah. Like before, I used to like run from fear. I would situations, let's say if I wanted to leave a job or something and do something that I loved, I'm like, well, what about the bills? What about this? That fear would creep in. Well, what if this happened? What if this happened? And I remember coming to a place where, to be completely blunt with you and everyone who's watching, I had to accept death. I'm like, all of the what ifs led to even becoming homeless. If that were to happen, what am I afraid of being homeless for? Why? Like, because I would starve. And then, so I had to take it all the way there for me to really come to the place of surrendering to my happiness and saying that no matter what I do in this lifetime, my happiness is first. I don't care about the what ifs. And in order to do that, you have to become partners with fear. You have to become partners with happiness and peace and love and all of the bad things and some of the things in the world that we don't maybe want to participate with. So when I became partners with fear was when it transformed me. I started to, it's so weird to be conscious. So when you're conscious, you know that you're like aware of everything. So I'm aware of the thoughts I'm thinking. I'm aware of what's happening in my external world that triggered the thoughts that I'm thinking. I'm aware of the feelings in my body. And I'm sitting there in all of this awareness, having to deal with it consciously. And yes. It's like, that is the most challenging thing that an individual, a human can experience. But when you look at it from the perspective as this will pass. Yes, I'm in this moment. I'm meant to be in this moment. It's okay. Fear is a part of my life. I started to become partners with fear. I'm like, come on, fear, all right, you're here for this moment. You're teaching me something. I'm going to pay attention. I'm going to learn. I love it. So I started to look at it differently, kind of like what I did with exercise. I know you love exercise. So I did not like to exercise at all. And I had to shift my mindset because what I noticed was my mental was programmed. Whenever I wanted to start to exercise, the thought would come, I don't feel like it. No, let's do it later. The thought. And when I would do the exercise, oh, my body's aching. I don't like this feeling. But when I shifted my mental to, I love the ache. Come on, let's go. Started to motivate myself a little bit more. Now when I exercise because I consistently, repetitively did it. Now, whenever I exercise, it's like, yes, I love it. I love the exercise feeling because I had to reprogram the ways that I was thinking about it. So I think it's the same with, us and our emotions. We have to understand that emotions don't want to control us. Emotions don't want to have the final say. Emotions are there to work with us. Emotions are there to assist us and guide us. As Abraham Hicks says, they are indicators. If you're feeling negative, there's something that happened in your environment around you, or you're thinking some thoughts. If it's not happening externally, there's something you're thinking that is not in alignment with who you are. Don't attack yourself. It's like, don't attack yourself. Don't judge yourself. Understand consciously, all right, I'm not feeling good. My body isn't feeling good. What is it that's causing this? And then you can step out of the feelings because you've acknowledged it from your body. And you can say, oh my gosh, I'm thinking all these crazy thoughts. Then you can say, well, why am I thinking all these crazy thoughts? And you say, oh, I watched that TV show, and you can even go deeper than that. But on that TV show, that happened and that happened. And that's tied to something that happened to you. You have to if you want true happiness, if you want true peace and love and joy, this is the process. It's like we have to dive a little bit deeper into the reasons we feel the way that we feel in order to free ourselves,
Yeah, I 100%.
That was a long one.
I think it works the same when you are in a relationship and you are in a fight, because I'm aware of my emotions now, and I feel and I know sometimes when I get irritated or angry with my partner, it doesn't happen often, like never, but when it does, I know that it's not because of him, it's because of me. Sometimes it's because I'm angry at myself. Mm-hmm. But in the end, that's what I know, but I react to him. And that's not fair. And I think a lot of relationships get into a fight because of that. Maybe that person triggered you and told you the truth and you didn't like it, so you get angry with them. But actually, you are mad at yourself because you know he or she is right and you should work on something.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's a recent example because recently I was a little bit angry. It's difficult when you try to put your own business online, and you do something you shouldn't do, for example procrastinating, or then he pointed it out, and then I got angry and I was like, just, well, I thought, shut up, I didn't say it because I know, I'm aware of that it's unfair to him,
Mm-hmm.
because he's right. But I think a lot of couples go into fights because of that.
Oh my
I
God.
am aware of it, he's aware of it himself as well, so we communicate, but I can imagine a lot of fights become or happen because of that.
I definitely want to talk about that for sure. Of course, I got into, well, I, was in a relationship. Um, I think we, not even just relationships with, let's say, spouses, or it could be family members. It could just be
Yeah,
anyone else. And
your
I feel like
boss.
relationships, period, right?
Yeah,
We all have this we can only view life from our own perspective,
yeah,
you know? So when we're looking at someone, we're looking from our perspective. When they're looking at us, they're looking from their perspective. And their perspective and our perspective all is consumed or created from the life experiences that they've experienced, the thoughts and the feelings that they think. So, of course, we are building these ideas of how people should be and respond to us. And if they don't do it the way we want,
yeah.
hey, then it's like this big old thing. But one thing I think can be the most hardest thing to do is be in a relationship without loving yourself. And that's what I did. I was always giving myself before knowing who I was. So of course, I was attacking and judging, and like you just said, they would do something, but it was really me, going through it within me. And I can't blame anyone for me. So when you have that wisdom and you have that knowledge and understanding, and you can be whole in yourself, you look at other people different. You don't judge anymore. You're like, I understand how hard it is to conquer self. So I know what you must be going through, looking at the other person just to find yourself. But because I found myself, I'll go easy on you, but because I know that this process of developing self-love, patience, happiness, and peace, and in a relationship, it's the hardest thing to do with someone that you're around, that you love, that you care for.
Yeah.
But it is the best thing that we could do. And I feel like personally, if we cannot become the greatest version of ourselves with another person, we have to do it alone. And I think that that is the most hardest thing for people to do, is say, you know what? I love myself so much, I can't do this right now because I don't want to attack you, Like I love myself so much that I would not want to put you through it. Now, if they don't love themselves, that much, that has nothing to do with us. Like, this is what I'm doing for me. Yeah. And that was a decision I had to make, where I'm like, I love myself too much to, accept, how can I put it? This is a deep one here, because we love everyone. I love my parents. I love my kids. Even being a mother, for example, I give all of me to my kids. And sometimes I have to come in my office and say, okay, I just need a moment to myself, because you just naturally do that, especially when you're like a giving type of person. Yeah. But even as a mother, I had to separate being a mother and being myself. Woo. Yeah. These things hit hard because, oh my gosh, I was recording a video, or I think sometimes I practice my speech the other day, and I was thinking, it is the hardest thing to choose you in this world. Yeah. It is so hard to say, I choose me over all of these things that we go through in life. It's so hard to choose you over relationships that aren't good for you, over careers that exhaust you, and jobs that exhaust you, and all of these things that are stimulating the brain in today's world, especially with all the stuff going on. It's so hard to stay in alignment. It's so much going on. but we
truly
have
is.
to
Yeah.
do it all day, every day,
Yeah.
and woo, it's so important.
Yeah, well, I'm so glad that you brought this up because it is really important and it's extremely hard. And I think it's the hardest things, as you said, that we can do to be truly 100% you and loving you for who you are. And that is, it took me a lot of time, and I know I'm still not there yet. I am really, really far. Like, I accept myself, I'm happy with myself, and I love myself. Um, but I know I still have some work to do. But it's that work that I put on the back because I know it's going to hurt. I know it's
I'm with you on that. I know exactly
yeah.
what you're
You
talking
know
about.
what I mean,
Yeah.
right?
You know what? I have to say something to that. It took me, okay. I'm sorry, I heard the truck going up. It took me accepting that, oh my gosh. I think that was the hardest thing for me to do in my life, was to accept that I'm forever going to grow until I leave this world. I had to come to the conclusion and the understanding that even when I know that, like you said, I'm very far. I'm far from where I was.
Yeah.
I know I still have more work to do. I'm like, oh my gosh, will I ever have a break from this work?
Yes.
Like,
I know what you mean. Yeah.
but I'm like, I realize I won't. The person that I am, the soul that I am, the spirit that I'm, like, I won't ever have a break from doing what I do. And I had to accept that. And that was the hardest thing. And I'm still accepting it every day. Every day I come to the conclusion that this is what it is. I am someone who's going to inspire lives. I am someone that's always going to smile and be positive. And all that takes work.
Yeah.
And I can't just sit in my house and watch TV and not do anything.
Oh,
So
no, me neither. Like, I haven't watched TV only when I go to sleep a little bit. But besides that, I don't watch TV. It's
me either. Like, I might give myself a movie maybe every month if I remember to do it. And if I'm on YouTube, I'm watching some inspirational video, or I don't
constantly busy with yourself, actually.
Yes,
grow
every day. So it's like, but accepting the fact that I was forever going to be growing and have growth and that it would never stop, that was heavy on its own. I'm like, okay. But acceptance is beautiful because it kind of, I use the example that, before you develop self-love and happiness and peace and the ability to let go and things like that, it's like you're walking around carrying books all the time, And then when you finally just say, okay, you know what, this is what it is, I'm done, I release, whatever happens, go with the flow of life. You drop the books and it's just like, you wake up every day. Yeah, you're like smiling, like, oh, today is a beautiful day.
Yeah. Yeah. What is your perspective on people who say try to be positive? Because lately I was a little bit stressed, and I always try to be positive, especially with this year. COVID is a great example.
Yes.
People say stay positive, and I think that's a good thing, but I also don't like it if people say it, because you cannot be happy and positive 100% all the time. And I don't believe it's healthy. But I would like to know what your perspective and opinion on that is, as you love to talk about emotional intelligence. So
yes. Well, of course, positivity. So, for example, previously with the things I've told you before, my dominant vibration was negativity. So whenever positive influences tried to come into my life, because the dominant force in my life was negativity, they kind of came but had to disappear. But now, because I have reprogrammed myself to more of a positive outlook, more gratitude, my dominant vibration in my life is positive. And when negativity comes, it can't stay that long. However, I feel like it's so imperative, and that's what I was talking about, becoming partners with our emotions, to understand that living in the world, you're going to come across some things, first of all, working jobs and careers and businesses and all these things that we have to do today in this world. It's going to maybe exhaust you sometimes. You're going to get tired. You're going to pick up on other people's energy. This is an energy world. It's going to happen. It's a part of life. So we cannot expect to be positive all the time. However, it is imperative to know how to handle those emotions, such as, feeling fear or sadness or, those particular emotions when they come. Yeah. It's important to be able to differentiate where they're coming from. Is it coming from someone else? Maybe there's a negative person in your life and you need to address them. Or is it coming from something that you saw on social media? So I say become more aware of the influences around you, the things that you're engaging in, so that you can at least know why you're feeling the way that you're feeling. Because everything's happening for a reason, whether it's happening for you to expand and become better, or it's happening because you haven't let it go, something go yet in your life, Yeah. So I say, feel it. There was someone on Clubhouse. I know you're familiar with Clubhouse. And she was talking in one of these groups, and she was talking about how she was working at a job for a minute, and I guess she got let go. And she knows she wants to do something more with her life, but she doesn't know what yet. And I kind of got on there and I spoke, and I said, sometimes those things happen, and we just have to kind of sit in that to understand, dive deep into ourselves. Sometimes you have to, okay, how can I put this? There was a time when I kept trying to rush to go somewhere, and I had to sit down and ask myself, where am I going? So I was putting that pressure on me. Yeah, it's like, I'm like, where am I going? I need to stop and breathe, because there is nowhere that I need to be other than right now. And right now, apparently, I need to feel this fear. Apparently, this fear wants to get to know me and tell me something about myself. And sometimes you have to feel it, get to know it. And it is okay. It is beautiful to get to know you. It is beautiful, because getting to know you, I love spreading positive energy, because like, I'm happy and I can go into just the supermarket and smile at someone, and you don't know what you just did to their day, and it's like, feel the feelings of fear, feel the feelings of sadness, feel the feelings of those things, sit down, work with yourself, and be okay. We don't have to, it's like, we don't have to go anywhere. Like, I feel like today's world is so focused on going somewhere, getting things done, get it done, get your money, get your entrepreneurship, become this, become that. When all we have to do is, what is it that I want? What is it that truly speaks to my heart? Where is it that I am going? Because tomorrow is not promised. And I speak on that confidently. A lot of people don't like to hear it, but I speak on it confidently, because I had to accept that. Yeah. I had to accept that, okay, I'm here, I'm smiling and everything, This is the most important moment that I have in my entire life, right here with you right now. Mm-hmm. This is my moment. I'm here. Yeah. So I wake up because I wake up and I smile because I'm here. Yeah. And if right here in this moment, when you think about that, and let's say you're in a down moment and you start thinking about, wait a minute, my next moment's not promised. Hold on. You're like, you know what? Is this situation really that serious for me to feel that way?
Yeah, I wanted to ask you, like, how, if you feel angry, if you feel sad, if you feel anxious, if you feel overwhelmed, what can we do? Because I know we all say you have to feel it. You have to go through it and move through it. And then, but how do you really do it? Because we know, because we trained ourselves and we put effort into it, but how do you start that?
Yes. Well, I know for me personally, how I even started to get to this journey was when I learned about paying attention to my thoughts. I say from experience to go the route of paying attention to the way that you feel first. So let's just say this is just an average person who isn't conscious, or they aren't aware, and they're just starting this. Every single person that that I know, they know when someone's going to make them feel negative. They can identify negative and positivity. Yeah. So of course the one we don't want is negativity. Yeah. So it's easy to identify when you're in a negative situation. So that's one point already. All right, I'm in a negative situation. Now some people may experience maybe a whole bunch of thoughts that's attacking them. Or you may have some people, which I think is more common, to have the feelings in your body, which is maybe stomach, headache, dizzy, So people could start to identify that they're in negative situations with it, which they should already be aware of, because more commonly it's a cycle of stuff that we've been going through over and over. Yeah. So we can identify the situation as it arises, then start to become aware of your body. Once you become aware of your body, you can catch the feelings so this is just basically helping someone to understand, all right, this is the time to take action. Yeah. It's happening, you pay attention to the feelings in your body. Now, my next step would be to identify what it is that caused you to feel the way that you're feeling. So just have the identification. Like I said, it could be someone, something, maybe you're thinking about money, whatever it is, identify what it is. If someone could be writing it down, perfect, or just doing this all mentally. I like to talk out loud. I'll come in my office, I'll close the door, I'll walk back and forth, and I'll talk out loud to get it out of me. Yeah.
But I think if you do it that way, you get more clarity as well. And then you hear what you're actually thinking. And then you're like, what am I saying? Like, it doesn't even make sense why I am so upset. Or
yes, I'm with you. Exactly. That's why I do it, because I can get out of my head and speak to myself. Like I can speak to like that authoritative figure. Because one thing I learned too, and this is important here, we are not our thoughts. I didn't know that, like, first of all, there's a brain, there's a memory, and there's some place of consciousness and then thoughts, which to me, I would say thoughts are kind of like, how can I describe them? Sentences, I don't know, that pop up, they kind of just like come, yeah. Whether you're like conscious of it or not, they're just going. And when you speak out loud to yourself, they have to silence. They have to be silenced. So when you understand that you're not your thoughts, and you understand that your thoughts are triggering, it's like, oh my gosh, it's a whole big old process. As I'm saying, I'm like, well, this is a process here. Yeah. You're not your thoughts. You're not your body, the ways that you feel. You are much more than that. Of course, that goes into a deeper thing, but it's important for healing to know that you're not the thoughts that are in your head telling you, oh, this is that, this is that. Your thoughts are composed of a memory. Your thoughts come from your experiences, which other people could have influenced. You're not your thoughts. So accept that. So as you become aware of your body and the feelings and things like that, start to identify why you're feeling this way. Okay, I'm feeling this way because I just got out of a disagreement. Why'd you get in the disagreement? We have to break it down, well, I got into the disagreement because of this. Ask yourself, was it that serious? Now we have to get to the serious, and sometimes we have to evaluate our lives and make decisions. Is this good for my life? Yeah. I had to eliminate a lot of negativity. Like you just said, I don't watch TV shows. I don't listen to certain music. Because I started to see how all of these things were entering into my subconscious mind, influencing the way that I felt, which was influencing the way that I thought, which was influencing the way that I behaved and responded and reacted. And I'm like, whoa, okay. And I think the closest you can get to coming to this place is starting to pay attention to the way that you feel first. Catch those feelings in your body. Like, okay, I feel the feelings. And then you can kind of start from there. Okay, I'm thinking all these thoughts. How can I think better thoughts? Just start giving yourself positive thoughts, just do it. And one thing we have to, oh my gosh, it's an all day, every day process. That was the one thing, like you can't, scientists say it takes 90 days to change. That's what they say. And I believe it, because you can do it. I remember exercising for 30 days straight and still my old program kicked in and I stopped. Yeah. So it's like, if you have to be consistent, you have to be repetitive with this. You have to do it all day, every day. When when it's something that you seriously need to change in your life, because it's not going to change if you don't. So having that understanding that this is something you have to become, and that's why, like, when I, coach people, it's more of like, are you truly ready for this? it's going to be some work.
Yeah.
It's like, man, it's going to be some work. And I don't know. I'm grateful to have the wisdom. And like I said, I want to make sure too that I did touch on how. So do you think starting with the feelings, helps people understand the how, or do you feel like we should go a little deeper into it?
No, I think this is how you can start it. I think this is great because, like you said, it is an ongoing journey and you need to do it every single day. So if you start with that, then I think you will come far. And I see it with myself as well. Like when I had it today actually, because of some problems with the cat and the neighbors, and someone rang on the door to complain about the cat, but I don't know for sure. But usually, I'm 90% sure it's nagging about the cat. But because I don't know for sure, I still have that anxiety in my head, like, oh my God, like what if they're going to do that? And then I have to, like you said, like I have to look at how I feel, then my thoughts. And I was thinking today, like, what are they going to do? What is the worst thing that can happen? They are going to complain about the cat. So they cannot kick me out of the house because of that.
Right.
And if so, well, we will find another house, maybe even a better house. I don't know. It's yeah, I think that is the way to go. Like
And
really,
it's like, it's okay, right? It's like, it's not that serious. And I think sometimes we're just like taking stuff so serious and we're not really noticing all of the thoughts that we're thinking that's influencing the ways that we're feeling.
yeah.
Like when I start tapping into my thoughts, like, and I'll notice it, let's say, I'm so conscious too. So I've been doing this for some time now. So it's easy for me. For people that are just starting, it's like when you start feeling that feeling that every person knows when they're not feeling right, every single person. I mean, maybe there's a few in the world, I don't know. But it's like we know it. Just like you did, like go into the thoughts, go all the way down to, okay, well, what if this happens?
Yeah.
Okay, is it, and then what happens after that? It's, you know what, my happiness is first. And that's what whenever situations come, I have to go to that. I'm like, my happiness is first, my peace is first. So you know what? It's more important for me to be at peace in this moment than to worry and think about that stuff. It'll figure itself out, period. Yeah. And then it allows you to let go. It allows you to surrender to the moment and to be okay. It's like, you know what? I'm okay. Everything, maybe not the way that I would prefer, but I am okay.
Yeah. Yes. And I just want to say that it's not selfish. Like I've said it a couple of times, but it is not selfish to look out for yourself. It's not selfish to put yourself first because, for example, as you said, as a mom, you have to put those boundaries because if you don't feel your best self, your kid will notice because kids know everything.
Oh, they do.
And kids mimic everything.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Yeah, that's critical. It's like my little ones are always watching me. They're always things I say, things like that. And let's say the music I play, the shows I watch, all of this stuff is influencing and creating their lives. Yeah. And it's imperative for me to at least teach them, if I can give them anything. People want to give their kids money and leave a generation. I want to leave mine with self-love and happiness and peace, because I feel like when you have that, if I left tomorrow and I don't have tons of millions of dollars today, I'm okay because I'm truly happy. Yeah. Or let's say, so I'm truly happy, right? I'm truly happy. I'm truly at peace. But let's just say something happens later that is not what I would prefer. I'm also happy with knowing that I can trust myself in that moment to know exactly what to do. That was something I had to learn too, is do I trust myself enough to do what I have to do for me? Because I didn't trust myself back in the day, and that caused a lot of fear. So I came to the place where I said, you know what, Shantinique, I trust you. And it made my future moments okay.
Yeah, I love that. I love that you say that, because I know what it means. I know how it feels. It feels liberating, knowing that no matter what you will face, you will figure it out. it will be okay. Like truly, it will be okay. And I think now that we're speaking about it, and it makes me realize that is, I think, one of the biggest things that I've learned. I've learned a lot of lessons the last couple of years, but to feel that freedom, or yeah, I would say freedom, to know that no matter what happens, you will figure it out. There is going to be a way out, and your happiness comes first. And yeah,
I'm with you.
absolutely.
I'm with you.
Yes.
That's the main thing in this conversation, that lots of things can happen in the world. I mean, look, COVID-19 was something that we all experienced. And when you have all of I was okay during COVID, I was perfectly fine, but I can't say that for a lot of people. And I was only okay because of what's within me, in my inner world, because I knew that, you know what, even if I left this world tomorrow, I'm happy within me. I'm happy. I'm at peace. I have the wisdom, the knowledge to understand that no matter what I go through, there is nothing in this world more important than that. Nothing. No money, no material possession. So I can wake up and I can look at my daughters and I can say, let's go play today, because I'm that happy. And I just want other people to feel it.
Yeah. Yes. I like the moment that I truly felt happiness, I was like, wow, I want everybody to feel that way. And that's the reason why I do what I do. Like, yes. And I'm sure that's for you the same. It's just an amazing feeling that we can all feel. Yes. We just have to look at ourselves, because no one else is going to do that for us. It's truly an inside job.
And also releasing the control. That was something I had to do. Because I'm not willing to, I think we talked about this, I'm not willing to like do so many things to get, let's say, a reputation or to get my message out. I'm just willing to be myself. And if I just want to post videos and hopefully one person likes it, I'm okay with that. If I don't get millions of dollars I'm okay with that, because I've discovered that you can have all those things. I've manifested some things, and when I got it, I remember manifesting like my first iPad. I wanted an iPad, I just wanted it, and I got it, and I just sat there.
Now you have it. Now what?
Yeah. Now what? So it's like, it's not about those things. It's about the way that we feel. Yeah. When we get the thing, we're going to feel some way. Then we're going to want something else, and we're going to feel some way again. So if I can create this feeling of happiness, I don't need to go anywhere to get it. I don't need to get anything to get it. All I need is the faculties and the tools within me, and I already have it. So releasing the control too is being myself for the world, not forcing anyone to like my message, not forcing anyone to agree with me or to work with me. You know what? If you like my message, you want to work with me, let's do it, because it's something that they have to do. We have to do for ourselves. And I'm with everyone that's ready for it. So I appreciate this.
Yeah, no, I just I love to talk about this, because it's something really, really important, and I can go on and on and on for hours about it. And I am actually, but yeah, it's really important for people to realize that it is truly an inside job. Happiness is something that comes from within. It doesn't come from people. It doesn't come from an iPad.
No, exactly.
It doesn't come from money. It truly comes from within. And yeah,
it's like, take back your power, right? This is my last thing. I want to say this. There was another thing that I went through in my meditation, which was I really came to the conclusion and the understanding that us humans, we are the creators. We create the money. We create the iPads and iPhones. Yeah. Just because you don't know them, that's a human that did that. So these things are here to assist us on our journey. They should never have the power to take away our journey. Nothing on the outside should be able to affect the inside. And because people aren't the creators of so many popular things, maybe, houses and paying bills, all these things are taking away our power when we are the ones who did it in the first place. Everything on this planet is here to assist us to become whomever, whatever it is that we want. So when everyone watching, when we understand that we are the creators, life is for us. We are life. That brings a new life to your life and a new light. Walk in it. Walk in it, because we are life, and life couldn't be here without us. So
I love it. That is beautifully said. I'm happy that you wanted to share that, because I wanted to ask, like, what is your biggest lesson? But I think that's your biggest lesson.
That's it right there. I am life, and life loves me, and I love life. So it's all just a ball of love, no matter what comes.
Yes.
So, yes.
I love it. So the last thing, because I can imagine that people like you and love you as much as I do. So how can they contact you if they want to work with you, or just take advantage of your energy, for your positivity?
Thank you. Well, they could go to my website, which is BecomingInnerSelf.com. On my website, it has like everything about me. It has like my coaching packages. If you want to work one-on-one with me, if you just have a question, they can find me on Facebook. I have a group page, which is Nique Mindset Coach, or just find me, Shantinique James, send me a message and we can kind of chat from there. I do have 30-minute consultation, like free 30-minute consultation sessions, for those who are interested in seeing if we have to make sure we align. But I'm always willing to talk, and people can always just go to my social media, just search Becoming Inner Self. It'll pop up everything. And I have my motivational videos there as well. So yeah.
Okay, awesome. Well, thank you so much for this conversation. I'll leave everything in the description. And yes, once again, thank you so much.
Thank you for what you do. And I'm going to, of course, keep up with your work. So I appreciate this, and we'll definitely talk soon.
Thank you so much for listening, and I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did and understand how important emotions and self-love really is. If you have questions, as always, I am here to help you. Just reach out to me on Instagram at Winanda_Pursuit of Healthiness, or on Facebook, Winanda van Delft, or send an email. I am always here. And as always, I talk to you next time.